Highness, look, front. You see the black clouds? The weather is not favoring us. I'll tell everyone to be on deck. Everyone, all hands on deck. Hold the line. The waves are not favoring us. The waves, currents, are tearing our ship apart.
Yes, this is not a natural storm. The ocean spirit demands so we haven't paid to cross this sacred domain.
We are too heavy. Throw the set and go, or we will sink to the bottom of the sea.
The ship is still taking on water. We're going to drown in this darkness.
Your Highness, the sea does not want our gold. It is demanding something true value to prove your divine right.
Highness, we test your downlight. You must surrender your highest pride and royal symbol to calm its wrath.
Your pride, your royal crown, it is made of pure gold, and the heaviest to land on the ship.
Cast away my sacred crown is to strip myself away from my treasured kingdom. But I must do it to save my people. Hold my spear.
The wind has completely died down. The ship is steady. We are safe now, Your Highness.
We have reached the west side of Masjid. But stay close. I do not know if there is a predator in this jungle.
Your Highness,
Yes.
the sea has acknowledged your divine right, my Your Highness. Though we are marooned here until the ship is repaired.
Do you feel the vibration in the air? Something ancient is watching us from the shadows. Benta, can you please come here?
By the heavens, stand back. What manner of beast is this? Faster and larger than half of goat?
Your Highness, we can repair the ship. But with an omen like this, I don't think we can return to Bintan.
We shall not return. We have been visited by the noble lion. We shall build a great city here, and we will call it Singapura.
Your Highness,
Hello everyone, welcome to our group presentation for Southeast Asian literature. My name is Nurhanisa Najwa binti Badr Hisham, and today me and my group are excited to talk about a famous story titled Sang Nila Utama and how Singapore was founded. Now let's start with where this story comes from. So our main source is a famous old book called The Sejarah Melayu, edited by A. Samad Ahmad, and this book is both a history record and a special story about Malay kings. So where did the Sang Nila Utama come from? As shown by researcher Kwa and his team, the prince started his journey in Palembang, Sumatra. Then he travelled to Bintan, and finally he arrived at an island called Temasek. And according to a historian, named Mexique. This happened around the year 1299, showing how Malay power moved across the sea. Next, let's look at why this story was told and why did people say the prince was special. So according to scholar Milner, he explains that linking the prince to the famous ruler Alexander the Great gave him a real power and respect to rule the land. And this brings us to Daulat, which means the special power of a king. And the Sejarah Melayu tells us about Wa'ad, which means a strong promise between the king and his people. So the people promised to be loyal and the king promised to be fair. Finally, let's talk about the name Singapura. So the name comes from two ancient words. First one is Singa, meaning lion, and Pura, which means city. So when the prince landed on Temasek, he saw a strange noble animal that looked like a lion. So he saw this as a very good sign, and historians Andaya and Andaya write that this moment gave the island its new name and set the stage for the famous Malacca Empire later on. And I think that's all for my part. Thank you. So now let's get into more of Sang Nila's story with my teammates.
Good day everyone, my name is Nurdana Hanis and today I'll be walking you through the opening chapter of the legend of Sang Nila Utama, a journey by curiosity and tested by nature and sealed by sacrifice. So today, there are three main plots that will be covered in this chapter. The first one is the journey of Sang Nila Utama, where we can see the climax in the storm and sacrifice, and finally, the resolution of Crown of Gold and City of Lions. Without further ado, let's go! So in the journey of Sang Nila Utama, our story begins in Palembang, where Sang Nila Utama, a prince of the great Srivijaya kingdom, set out to explore the surrounding seas. His journey took him across the water to the island of Bintan, where the hunting on the island's high ground, he looks across the horizon and spotted something captivating, a shining island with bright white sand beaches resting in the distance. Intrigued, he immediately decided to set sail toward this mysterious new island, and where here we'll be telling you about the climax, which the storm and sacrifice. So, however, as his royal fleet ventured across the Temasek Strait, disaster struck. The sky suddenly darkened and a violent tempest erupted out of nowhere. So monstrous waves pounded the fleet and sea waters flooded the prince's boat. In sheer panic, the crew threw all the heavy cargo overboard to lighten the vessel. But the ferocious storm raged on without mercy. Realizing their survival was at stake, the princess gave a crucial piece of advice. The sea spirits demand a gift of a true royalty. Hearing this, Sang Nila Utama took off his heavy golden crown, the ultimate symbol of his power and authority, and cast into the roaring ocean. And instantly, the raging sea turned calm, and this sacrifice saved their lives and opened a doorway to discover the Temasek. We continue for the resolution from my teammate. Thank you.
The storm and sacrifice. As his royal fleet sails across the straits, referred to as both the Temasek Straits and the Singapore Straits, towards the island, they are met with a sudden tempest. The sky suddenly darkens and a violent, catastrophic storm erupts. This creates a severe crisis as monstrous waves threaten to capsize the ships and heavy water flips in the prince's boat. The crew panics and throws heavy cargo overboard to lighten the vessel, but the storm continues to rage on without mercy. The turning point occurs when they realize their survival is at stake. The prince is advised by the princess in some accounts and the chief minister in others that the sea demands a heavy royal gift. In a moment of high drama, the prince removed his heavy royal crown. He cast the crown, which is the supreme symbol of his power and authority, into the ocean. Moving on to the part 3, which is moving on to the next part, Crown of Gold, City of Lion. This part, which is the climax part, where Sang Nila Utama throws his royal crown to the ocean, symbolizes the weight of divine independence, pacifying nature. During the falling action, the prince lands safely and ventures into the jungle of Temasek. Here, a secondary mythological conflict occurs with the sudden, startling appearance of a strange beast. In the resolution, the story concludes with a permanent change to the landscape and history. The beast is identified as a lion or a singer. The prince accepts this sighting as a divine mandate to stay. As a result, Temasek is reborn as Singapura. Moving on to the next part, which is the theme of this Sang Nila Utama. The first major theme is sacrifice for leadership. Sang Nila Utama parts with his most prized royal crown to save his crew and ship from a violent storm. This action shows that true leaders prioritize life over material wealth. The second theme of this Sang Nila Utama is destiny and legitimacy. The mysterious sighting of the majestic beast, the singer or lion, acts as an suspicious sign. This validates his right to rule and to establish a lasting settlement. The final theme is exploration and identity. The transition from an uncertain voyage to naming Singapura, which means Lion City, highlights how curiosity shapes history and collective identity.
Hello everyone, my name is Muhammad Haiman Fakhruddin bin Muhammad Taufik, and I'll be continuing the presentation with the moral values and the issues related with Legend of Sang Nila Utama. So the first moral value that can be found from the Legend of Sang Nila Utama is sacrifice for the greater good. So during the sea voyage of Sang Nila Utama to Temasek, there was a violent raging storm that threatens to sink his ship. So he throws cargo overboard, and then his advisor suggests casting away his priceless royal crown. So by willingly sacrificing his most precious symbol of status and wealth to appease the sea, Sang Nila Utama managed to save the lives of his crew and passengers. Number 2, resilience. So leaving behind his homeland of Palembang, the prince pushes past the danger of fierce ocean storms and treacherous waters. Rather than turning back in defeat after losing his regalia to the sea, Sang Nila Utama presses forward with steadfast determination to explore and establish a new settlement. And the last moral values that can be found from this legend is awe and appreciation. So upon reaching the island of Temasek, Sang Nila Utama displays a deep sense of wonder and appreciation for the beauty of the island, so its wide sandy shores and the rich environment. So after that, Sang Nila Utama encountered a majestic, unfamiliar beast in the jungle, and that left him with profound awe, which he interprets as a divine and auspicious sign to build his new kingdom. While these values are inspiring, looking deeper into the story reveals 5 major historical issues that we must consider. So the first issue is the lion as a political symbol. The prince most likely never saw a real lion, as they do not live in the region. He used the idea of a lion because it was a well-known sign of power and protection in Asian cultures. This shows how early leaders invented details to make their new cities look strong and important to visiting traders. Our second issue concerns with history books. The main record of the story is the Malay Annals, or Salalatus Salatin, which was written by royal court writers. These writers focused on making the king look glorious, so they added magic and skipped facts. Number 3. We see the issue of using myth to keep control. The legend claims the prince had a magical crown that could calm a raging storm. This detail was meant to teach ordinary people that the ruler was chosen by heaven and had special powers. It created a strict rule where regular people were too afraid to question or rebel against the king. Number 4 is forgetting the local people. The story treats the island as an empty, wild place waiting for a royal prince to discover it. This completely ignores the native sea tribes, known as the Orang Laut, who already lived there. Because of this, history ends up forgetting the local sailors who actually protected the waters and kept the early port running. And lastly, is correcting the timeline. For a long time, history lessons claimed the island was just a sleepy village until the British arrived in 1819. The older Malay stories were ignored or treated as simple fairy tales. Today, this legend is used to prove that the island was a busy, connected trading port hundreds of years before the Europeans took control. By understanding both the moral lessons and these hidden issues, we get a much clearer picture of the history. Now I'll pass to the next person.
Hello, good day and Assalamualaikum. My name is Muhammad Ishwiti Pion Fazli and I will be presenting my part, which is the Proverbs and Embedded Wisdom. So, right here we have 4 Proverbs which I have put in this slide. So, the story of Sang Nila Utama is more than a historical legend. Its storytelling reflects Malay values such as leadership, loyalty, humility, and respect for the sea, the nature, and Daulat, which is royal sovereignty. Okay, so let's go to the next slide. Okay, so Proverbs connected to the story. Okay, there are 4 proverbs that I've put right here in the slide. So the first one is di mana bumi dipijak, di situ langit dijunjung. So wherever we stand, we should respect the custom and values of that place. Okay, so this connects to Sang Nila's Utama arrival in a new land and the importance of adapting and respecting the community. The second one is bulat air kerana pembentung, bulat manusia kerana muafakat. Water is shaped by its channel, people are strength by its consensus. So this reflects the importance of cooperation and unity in building a kingdom. The third one, harapkan pagar, pagar makan padi. So the one trusted to protect may instead cause harm. So this can be connected to the story's emphasis on loyalty and trust, particularly within royal leadership. Kalau takut dilambung ombak, jangan berumah di tepi pantai. If you fear the waves, do not live by the sea. So this is a strong metaphor for courage in facing uncertainty, especially relevant to Sang Nila's journey across the sea. So let's go to the next slide. So, Daulat and royal sovereignty. Daulat is an important idea in Malay storytelling. So, the ruler was regarded as possessing Daulat, a form of sacred royal authority. So, the stories about the ruler reinforce the importance of respecting the king and the royal order. So, Sang Nila's Utama royal lineage and actions therefore carry more meaning than those of an ordinary traveller. So, oral storytelling helps pass these ideas from one generation to the other. So, the main takeaway from this is the story teaches that leadership is not only about power, it comes with responsibility, loyalty, and respect. Next slide. So, respect for the sea and oral tradition. The sea is more than just the setting in the story. It represents the journey, uncertainty, danger, and fate. Sang Nila Utama's voyage shows the courage required to face the unknown. For maritime communities, the sea was closely connected to livelihood, travel, and survival. So, through oral storytelling, these experiences become lessons about courage, humility, and respect for the nature. So to end my part, the main takeaway is like the proverb gives the lesson, the story gives the lesson, a memory. Through proverbs and oral storytelling, the story of Sang Nila Utama preserved more than a legend. It preserved a way of thinking, respecting the ruler, value loyalty, face uncertainty with courage, and respect to the forces of nature. That's it for my part. I will give it to the next presenter. Thank you.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Muhammad Farid Shami. I will be presenting about modern adaptation, contemporary adaptation of Sang Nila Utama. The first adaptation that we have, the Malayan emblem, which is made on 1964, designed for the Singapore Tourism Board, combining the lion head and the fishtail from the ancient Temasek. The second one, we have the statue of Sang Nila Utama was made during 2019 Singapore Bicentennial standing beside with Stamford Raffles statue along the Singapore River. The third one, we have the Bangsawan, which is the traditional Malay opera and modern dance on 2022. Performing art groups like Sri Warisan and Theatre Kami regularly adapt the story into modern Bangsawan stage plays and Malay dance dramas, often incorporating modern lighting, sound design, and live orchestration. Number 4, that we have Utama. Utama is a novel by Eng Yi Sheng, made on 2025. It's a 60-page fiction finally exploring the Prince's rise, empire, and a myth via queens and warriors. For the fifth one, we have the Singaporean folktale about Sang Nila Utama, which is the prince from Palembang. The author is Chia and Hen Chek, published on 1981. And the last one, we have the Singapore Nightlight Festival 2023, which is Sang Nila, was featured in 700 Years, the festival's first theatrical projection mapping, displayed on the facade of the National Museum of Singapore. So, in conclusion, the legend of Sang Nila Utama is far more than an ancient origin story. It is a foundation pillar of Singapore's national identity and pre-colonial heritage. By sacrificing his royal crown to survive the storm and naming the island Singapura, Sang Nila Utama established a legacy of courage, leadership, and vision that endures today. Through modern statues, literature, performing arts, and icons like the Merlion, his historic journey continues to inspire new generations, serving as a timeless reminder of how a single bold vision can forge the destiny of a nation.